I just want to talk about how this modern QB market, where we are just in the day of age of every quarterback, no matter who it is, they are trying to find a way to come in at the top of the market. And this really stems from the Brock Purdy situation that happened, because I listened to a whole thing on the Ringer where they were like, "Oh, like he's the 13th highest contract in the NFL," and when as it goes on, like by year 4, he'll be like the 25th most expensive quarterback in the NFL. That's not true at all. He's 5th on this list. The only people who are making more money than him are Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. So he's making just as much money as the rest of these guys, only a few million less here and there. Um, my first question is, the blueprint in the NFL over the last 20 years has really been laid out. It's have a quarterback on a rookie deal, or be able to have a quarterback who is talented enough to get you over the hump, to be relevant every single season. Let's say, obviously there's outliers. The blueprint that Tom Brady laid out during his time in New England is never followed nowadays at all. Tom Brady didn't restructure to defer cap hits. He actually left money on the table, and he never ranked in the top 10 of quarterback salary during his entire playing time in the NFL. Now, this goes back to the Brock Purdy situation, where he just signed for, let me get this right, 5 years, $265 million, $53 million a year. He feels like somebody who could have fit the mold of, I was Mr. Relevant, I was last draft pick. I'm good. I'm a good quarterback, but I have had stacked rosters around me on the offense and the defense. And I think that if you are Brock Purdy, do you trust Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch enough with your future in the NFL to look at them and be like, I trust you guys? And you look at what the 49ers have done. Have they picked well every single year at the top of the draft? No, but some of their hits later on in rounds on offense and defense, with like George Kittle was a 5th round, Juwan Jennings, who was a 7th round pick, Deebo Samuel was a 2nd round pick, Brandon Ayuk was a 2nd round pick, kind of goes on and on. Do you trust them? Be like, I'm going to leave money on the table, and I want to keep playing with these stacked rosters. It's a ton of fun to play with, and we're going to run it like that on offense and defense. If there was anybody to do it, I felt like it would be Brock Purdy. And now that Brock Purdy didn't do it, I feel like that we're in a point now where we're going to look at a lot of these big time contracts. The first one that comes to mind is Tua Tagovailoa. He's not worth that money in any way, shape, or form. There's going to be a lot of Deshaun Watson. There's going to be a lot of teams holding the bag on these deals. And at what point do teams stick up for themselves, or like a player itself just be like, man, I know that I might not be the best ever, but like, I know that like, if we can have a stacked team, we can actually win. And just feels like it's more about everybody's pockets nowadays. And I mean, if you're not a complete idiot, you're completely fine. If you're an NFL quarterback and you can't figure out a way to make money outside of football after you're done playing, etc., like, then you're just like a complete idiot.
Yeah, or you don't want to do any of that. You just want to go off the face of the earth.
Yeah, and that's fine. And guess what? Even with
you still have enough money to do that.
Yeah, you still have enough money to do that. So, I know I just said a lot there. I guess the first thing that I want to kind of touch on is like, why do you think that no quarterback has taken like the Tom Brady blueprint and been like, you know what, like, I want to win more than anything, and if I can just leave like an extra 20 million off the table, I'm not even saying that much. Like at this point, like 20 million in these deals, like $265 million. If you just leave out 20 million, that's 2 players. It's 2 good players that you can get on offense or defense. Like, why has nobody taken over? And do you think that my representation of like the Brock Purdy situation, where, sorry for talking so much, if you look at somebody like Trevor Lawrence has I think, earned the right to be like, I don't trust this organization in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to get my bag because we have had bad coach after bad coach after bad coach. I mean, Urban Meyer is one of the worst hires of all time. I'm going to
Horrible.
go and get my bag. Do you think that me using the Brock Purdy as an example, who he was a nobody and now is a $265 million man making $53 million a year? You think at some point that he could look at John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and be like, I trust you guys with my career. I trust you guys with my process. And let's do this thing for a really long time. We've been successful already. Let's keep doing it for the next decade. And go ahead.
I to answer your question, yes, I would have success. I would have trust in both of those guys. Um, they've they've played in what a Super Bowl, two NFC championships,
Yeah.
um, and have consistently shown that they are willing to spend money to build a talented team around Brock Purdy while he's been there. And this just makes it more difficult now. I still think they'll figure out a way to still put out a good team moving forward, but um, this kind of goes back to like the Eagles thing that you mentioned earlier about being top heavy, where like maybe if some of those contracts weren't as significant as they were, they could bring in some other guys and have some more depth elsewhere. Um, I guess it just depends on how you want to build your team at the end of the day, if you want to be top heavy or if you do want to have that depth, but that's for another day. I would have expected Brock Purdy to be the guy that took a little bit less money in order to make sure that it was set in stone that they were going to have talent all over the field for him on both sides. Um, but counter side of this is like your NFL career can end in one game. And like if you have an opportunity to cash in now, it's easy for us to say as two guys that are not being handed a contract that says 5 years 263 million or a contract that says 5 years 243 million. It's easier for us to say like, oh well, yeah, just take
Well,
what's
I'm letting you know right now, I would do that. I don't care. Like if you were to like it
I
could fit.
know, I know. It's easier for us to sit here without that contract in front of us. But at the end of the
I'm
day,
letting you
like
know. I'm letting
it
you know right now. Like if somebody were to sit a contract in front of me for that much and been like, yeah, we can give you this contract, but like if we give you this contract, like we're gonna have to get rid of Noah. And because we're not gonna be able to
yeah,
afford Noah and be like,
yeah.
but
I'm
I can
$20
take
million
it.
guy.
You can take a $30 million pay cut and bring Noah. I could be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like really, that's where my head goes. It's just like,
Yeah, because you want to
okay,
win.
yeah, I want to win. Like, it's really not rocket science for me. Like,
It's not.
at the end of the day, like when you're making that much money, like it is easy for me to sit here and say that. Yes, I can say that.
Yes. So uh I think a lot of it just comes down to the fact of like you don't know when your last game's gonna be and you want to cash in as much as you can while you're there. But I don't know. I feel like that's just like kind of a cop out per se, because why would you not want to just take like you're getting generational money at $243 million. You're getting generational money at $263 million. Like, why
Yeah,
not
you're getting
make
generational money at
your
like $10 million.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the point.
yeah, why not take a little bit less to be able to compete? Like it's different if you play on a shitty team, right? Like you're Deshaun Watson, you're going into the Browns. Of course, I'm going to take $245 million guaranteed because I'm going to have to probably be the one that rips them out of hell. And it's
And you
not
don't
like
know
Brock
them.
Purdy's,
You
yeah.
didn't
And it's
know
not like,
them.
yeah, I'm going from this wasn't the team that drafted me. So it's a whole new scenario, whole new organization. Like he knows that front office, he knows the coaching staff. Like, I would trust them. I feel like they've shown that they are capable of drafting in the grand scheme of things well and bringing in guys like to improve the team year in and year out. And if there was ever a worse time for them to have to sign Brock Purdy, it's probably this year where they lose 15 guys.
Yeah, literally.
So, like, the timing couldn't be worse for the Niners, But I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I would want to go out there and make sure that I know that my role is important as the quarterback, but I can't do all of this. I can't get to an NFC championship. I can't get to a Super Bowl if I don't have these guys around me on both
And
sides
it's
of the
a
football. And
culture
that's a humbling thing to have to deal with too.
it's a culture setting thing to do as well because like you look at what the best example is the Patriots because this is what Tom did. Like if Julian Edelman started having a temper tantrum about oh, I want to get 5 more million, like blah blah blah. The Brandon Ayuk situation last year. I need to get paid, blah blah blah. He ended up tearing his ACL and whatever, but like forget all of that. If he wasn't acting like a diva the entire time, he wouldn't act like a diva if Brock Purdy set the standard of taking less money. I'd be like, listen, like Brock is our guy. Like, and he took less money than you. Like, you need to figure this out. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it starts from like the top down. And I genuinely like in my heart of hearts, like if you would have told me that Brock Purdy took a little bit less of a pay cut and allowed like more cap room and flexibility for the team, I would have been like Brock Purdy is next up. Like he's going to be good in this league forever.
Yeah.
And
Because they would have the cap space and capability to build quality teams around him.
exactly. So I just think it's interesting and I don't really have much more to add on that. I just in this modern era where everybody just seems to continue to make more and more money. Like, I mean, you're telling me right now that Brock Purdy makes more money than Lamar Jackson? Like, I mean, come on. Like, it just makes
Yeah.
no sense. I mean,
No,
Lamar is in the MVP conversation every single year. He wills his team. Like, I mean, what he does with these offenses are crazy. I texted you the other day. Like, Lamar had 45 touchdowns and 2 interceptions last year or 4
crazy.
interceptions.
Something,
And I
yeah,
was like,
less than 10.
and 9 and not less than
Yeah, less than 5.
and yeah, I mean, we talked about Lamar the other day and like I said, he had let me pull it up real quick because it's going to bug me if I can't. He had 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions and almost rushed for 1,000 yards on the ground. I mean,
How much of it do you think is the agent in the room being
it's probably all of it.
greedy about this too? Because how many times as an agent are you going to have the opportunity to cash in on that
Probably
much
probably never.
of, of a paycheck,
Probably
right? Like,
probably not too often. What I
yeah,
just confused about though, and if somebody is a cap wizard that stumbles across this video and can explain it to me, what's the deal here? What's stopping them Brock Purdy coming in and be like, I want $265 million. Well, what if I just look at him and I'm just like, listen, we love you. You're a great player. We want you to be the face of our franchise forever. But Lamar Jackson makes $260 million a year. And we're not saying that we don't like you more than Lamar Jackson, but Lamar is a probably in our time like one of the most decorated like individual athletes like that we've had like in the NFL. And although you've had more success than him in the postseason, like I think that's fair to say. Like there's also like Lamar is just flat better than you. And I know that you can't outwardly say that like how I said it, but that's a conversation that I think could like be had. I mean, I feel like the negotiation is so far into the favor of the player
yeah,
as of now
100%. Yeah,
that it just
100%.
like it
Every
makes no
quarterback gets the
sense.
highest deal every time they get a deal.
But it just makes no sense. Why
Because I
is there
think teams
no
are because
hard
there's no
market?
pushback from any teams because they think, okay, if we don't pay Brock Purdy this money, somebody else will. And then we have to figure out a new quarterback. And the odds of finding a Mr. Irrelevant again, if you're the 49ers, and just so happen that he turns into a franchise quarterback, are probably equally as high as getting struck by lightning.
Definitely.
So, like, teams don't want to have to go through that process. That's why the Browns paid That's why the Browns took a shot on Deshaun Watson and paid him $240 million guaranteed money. Like,
But there's a clear difference too of like Josh Allen is the second highest paid quarterback. He makes $55 million per year,
he
which
should
is
make
more
$100 million a year.
which is more than Brock Purdy. I don't agree with that, but which is more than Brock Purdy. But like if Brock Purdy was like going to the table, like if we want to be if we want to play technicalities, like in the postseason, as of right now, like Josh Allen has played more games than him, but like from a success standpoint, like Brock Purdy has been more successful in the postseason than Josh Allen has been. So like it's like why can't Brock Purdy get the Josh Allen deal? It's because he's not as good as Josh Allen. Like
Yeah.
it's just so like why can't that conversation be had like with multiple quarterbacks across the market? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I
I
just
just
think
think
teams are scared. They don't want to lose their quarterbacks and they don't want to piss somebody off because they know that somebody will pay them. I
hey,
think there just needs to be more pushback from front offices across the NFL to say, hey, basically what you just did. We fucking love you, but you're not better than Lamar Jackson. And maybe that's the conversation that needs to be had. People need to be honest about this type of thing
yeah,
because Brock Purdy shouldn't look in the mirror and say, I'm as good as Lamar. Like, I understand there is a certain like persona that you have to have as a quarterback. You
there's
have to be
no way he
confident.
thinks that.
You
No
have to
way.
be confident. Right. I get exactly. But there's no way he's saying, I'm better than Josh Allen. I'm better than Lamar Jackson. I'm better than these guys. Like, I deserve that type of money.
No chance.
There's no way. So like why and the job of the agent is to get the most money possible. So I think a lot of it is probably going on the agent. The agent doesn't care about the makeup of the team. The agent wants
What's best
10%.
for his client and
Yes,
himself.
yes. I think that's what it is. But teams need to be if the agents are in there negotiating without these guys, then maybe teams need to be more difficult towards the agents.
Hey, listen, if a sports agent
If you're an
sees
agent,
this
yeah, get in
and
here.
wants to come on here, you have an open invite. So if you find this video, let me know. Just DM me or comment on the video.
Yeah, I would love to figure that out because it is getting
It's
crazy
interesting.
because every quarterback that is coming up on the end of their rookie deal is just going to get paid. Whoever's next in line is
200,
just going to get paid. Like the next guy's going to
275
get
million.
$285 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like who's the next quarterback probably?
I don't know.
And I get it. Like you're looking into the future because like down the road that deal won't be as expensive because there'll be other quarterbacks that get paid more than that, but like you're
Like,
also banking on that quarterback still being as good.
I think the next quarterbacks up would be like CJ Stroud and
Yeah.
like that group. But I'm with you. Hey, on this is probably going to be an ongoing conversation that me and you have, but it's to scratch the surface a little bit because I just think that the quarterback market's so weird. The market in general is a little weird where, like I said, it just feels like the teams and the front offices almost have like little to zero leverage and it's just all player leverage. And it's like, well, does that make sense? My answer as of right now is no. Second, as a quarterback, do you need 275 million or is 5 million okay if you aren't a decorated accomplished quarterback? Like I just looked at like the Trevor Lawrence contract. I know I defended him at first, but he makes 275 million dollars. Like could he take 255 million dollars and let the
Improve that
team
offensive line.
Yeah, I think that I think my answer to that is yes as well. So it's just an interesting dynamic across the board on where everybody's priorities are when we have obviously as of recent memory. I mean, in the last 5 years, Tom Brady has won a Super Bowl still. So take that for what you want. But in the modern era, like, we have this kind of blueprint of guys who are the most important players being able to take a little bit of humility and having long-term success in the NFL. So it's just what I think.
I mean, look at the Bengals. They're paying three guys like $500 million, and they won't be able to put out a competent defense this season.
I mean, Joe Burrow is making $55 million per year. Patrick Mahomes is making $45 million a year. Like, it's just
there's nobody that's benefited more from one Super Bowl run than Joe Burrow.
Hey, different conversation for a different
combo.
Guy.
Different combo.
That's all I have today. Are you good? Do you have anything else you want to do?
That was a banger.
It was a banger. I'm going to edit this and get this up. Hopefully some of the videos do well this week. And if not, I'm going to crash out.
White clouds blowing out when we max 4-5, not the size, but it kick up high line.